Welcome to DKM episode 25, ladies and gentlemen. And yesterday, I had a grand old time returning to the movie theaters. It was like, I missed the atmosphere. I missed the popcorn. I missed the nachos. I missed the
Do you
overpriced
miss?
foods.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. Do you miss paying your newborn child for some
Right.
popcorn?
So
I
here's the thing, right? So I got a large popcorn, large drink for myself, nachos, and a large drink for someone else, and then the specialty popcorn, which was cheddar and caramel, and then they also got a large drink, and then we also got one more thing. It came out to like $50,
ugh.
but it was all right. It was I was just chilling with friends. I didn't mind paying for it.
What did you watch?
I watched Demon Slayer Mugen Train.
Oh, okay. I've been needing to watch that Demon Slayer anime.
It's pretty good.
Uh,
It's pretty good. The manga ended recently, so now's a good time to catch up on it. And now since the movie's out, actually, it's
How many episodes is the show?
I don't recall. I think 30 something. Right now it's still ongoing. The movie's canon, so
Okay,
it's pretty good.
so that's good. Is it the finale or
No, it's just a continuation of the series itself. Which honestly, it's sort of weird how in America this movie's lasting a whole weekend. Normally, it's like a 1 day thing for
Yeah.
anime movies where it's just there for a day and that's it. Good luck viewing it again, but
Yeah.
it's literally a whole weekend. I think it has more to do with the current state of the world and how we're recovering from the world crisis, and then also they want as many cells as they can for this movie, so it's spreading out across 3 days. So I mean, it makes sense, but it was a nice movie.
Yeah.
I miss watching anime movies. I'm not sure if you guys ever watched an anime movies in theaters recently
I
or
haven't.
in the
Um,
past.
I
No?
haven't. No.
I have never seen an anime movie. I've always wanted to, especially when they, like when an older movie gets like an anniversary, they start like putting it up on a lot of like theaters and stuff. And yeah, I wanted to watch like Akira and things like that. The last animated movie I watched in theaters was In the Spider-Verse, and I love that movie.
But nothing like anime wise, Japanese.
No, I remember there was a. I was about to ask you, was the movie subtitled or was it Japanese?
So there was
dub,
two
or-
options. One option was an earlier showing on English, if you wanted to, but we chose the Japanese language with the English subtitles.
Was it difficult to read the subtitles on a bigger screen like that though?
No, why would it be?
I mean, I don't know. Some people like bring that up. It's that like the reason why they, like I never got into the whole like sub versus dub debate. Like I prefer sub anime, but if you just prefer watching in English, that's no skin off my teeth on that. But people say like, oh, the reason why I don't like watching subbed anime is because I don't want my eyes to be focused primarily on the subtitles. But I think if you're a quick reader or you could just like see it a little bit better, you might not
Yeah,
have to worry
imagine not
about
being able
that.
to read.
That too.
Bro, that's
Or
so
maybe-
hard. I don't know how to read.
My only
Did you guys forget
defense
how
for-
I'm a smooth brain or what? I mean,
we're all smooth brains?
I can't breathe without somebody reminding me. Like,
Can't even remember to breathe.
One thing I will say about the sub versus dub, I just enjoy the voice acting more. It seems like the voice
Yeah.
acting there's a bigger pool of amazing voice actors when it comes to animation in general and cartoons in Japan. In
Yep.
contrast to here in America, then as well, the argument for dub, I would say, is I can watch an anime at 1.5 speed comfortably, whereas in sub, like I can do that, but then I have to like rewind to read again just to make sure I understood what I read. So I can watch an anime much faster. I can get more anime in an hour than I can. Well, in English than I can.
it's called
in
speed
Japanese.
running anime. You have to
Yeah, that's
master
some galaxy brain. Like,
You gotta-
I like watching YouTube videos as well at 1.5 speed normally. So I get to watch more things, absorb more content as throughout my day. It's
time is money. Time is efficient.
like even in our
Speed running
podcast,
YouTube now.
there's a lot of ums and a lot of ands and dead air that when you're watching the 1.5 speed, it's shortened. And I like that. Like, you can watch Joe Rogan, and the amount of times where Joe Rogan sometimes stops and ponders on like what he's gonna say next, or
Yeah.
when his guest is there. Like, sometimes just hearing the I don't know. Well, and we do it here too in the podcast. But even like, I've listened to all of our episodes, and I listen to it at 1.75 speed, because obviously we're not all that fast of talkers. We're sort of moderate, so that's
Well, that's good because I used to like when I was younger, and I think to this day I still like speak really fast, especially if I get like really excited. So over the years, I had to like learn to keep my voice a lot more quieter and speak a little bit more slower. Because I'm pretty sure you guys remember when I was younger, I used to talk really fast.
yeah, that's true.
Um,
I will.
but to go back to,
Uh-huh.
oh,
No,
sorry,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just about to say like, what was the last anime you guys have ever watched dubbed?
Dubbed?
Um,
I saw a little bit of
Yeah, dubbed in English.
AOT. I mean, it wasn't recent. It was like season 1. I watched like 2 episodes. I'm like, man, I can't get into this. So I just
Me, like, to me about the whole like thing is that okay, I'm just gonna get this out right now. I'm not unabashedly afraid to say this. I can't get into Japanese Dragon Ball. It's too difficult for me to get into it, and I have nothing but respect for the voice actress for Goku. Like, she's a G, like she's a legend in my book, but I can't do it. Like, if I'm not hearing Chris Sabat, God, what's the voice of Goku again? Oh my God,
Sean
I'm drawing a blank.
Shamel, that POS. I don't like him.
Oh boy, we're gonna get into that. Yeah, Sean Trammell. To me, it's just I can't do it. I can't get into it, and it's very interesting because there, especially when it comes to like translations and things like that. Especially like with Evangelion, like when Evangelion got picked up by Netflix, they had to redo the whole the whole dialogue again, and that caused a little bit of controversy.
Why is that?
And there's a lot of things like okay, mainly with the character between Shinji and Kaoru. In the show, Kaoru explicitly says in Japanese that I love you, right? And it's two dudes, right? But in the English, in the Netflix subtitle, he plainly says you are worthy of my grace, and to a lot of people, that's kind of a little bit it devalues the whole.
censoring.
It I wouldn't say censoring. I think it was more like I don't
No, because
I don't
there's
want to
some
say
markets where I don't want to be rude about it, but gay love or
oh yeah, like in
homosexual
China and
love,
things like that. Yeah,
you can't have that promoted on any sort of social media or
Imagine not saying you love your homies to help their mental well-being
bro,
because you
tell
care
me
about them.
it.
and then later that homie has to crush your head in before you cause his third impact. That was
There
fun.
you go.
But yeah, like and someone I think Gikudu mentioned a good point about like over the years, like people got into the whole sub versus dub argument. And I think it's because of the birth of the internet and when more people started watching anime earlier. Because back in the day, if you guys remember Toonami, you kids had it easy. If we wanted to watch anime on YouTube, we had to go on YouTube and watch like Naruto episode 1, part 1 on one YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Then later the part 2 got deleted, so you got to go to another channel and this and that. Like you kids have it easy. You pay $8 on Crunchyroll, you got everything. But
Imagine paying.
yeah, but then later when fan subtitles came out and then people started watching anime in Japanese, they got used to the Japanese voice actors, and then later when they would see the English dub, because their brain is used to the Japanese dub, they just can't like get into it, And you can't really blame. And I think there was like a quote that a voice actor said that we are voice actors, not imitators, essentially. So you can't get mad that an English voice actor doesn't sound like the Japanese voice actor because they're two different people.
Exactly.
I get it. It's just maybe it's.
And I think that the quality of anime dub is, I think it's gotten way, way, way better than people make it out to be. You know, what I'm saying?
great.
Like I'm
It's
talking.
great.
Pokemon had some pretty good anime dub.
Yeah, that too. But I'm talking about like early '90s anime dubbing.
That
today.
is early
like,
'90s anime dubbing.
No, I mean, but you know what I mean, Kenny, is that like people want to make this idea that like, oh, all English dubbing is bad.
Well,
like,
no, it really depends on the voice actors that they hire and how they sound.
Very true.
Compared to the original voice actors, you know what I mean? Like some people.
Did you guys ever watch like any of the non-Funimation Dragon Ball dubs, like Harmony Gold and?
I think I watched a couple of episodes, but not really like all the way through.
Nah, I didn't even get that far, if my memory was right.
But here's the thing with like American voice actors and with the Japanese voice actors, there's just the amount of emotion and just how they can sell a situation to you just through voice acting alone is so well done in Japanese, but there are only a handful, at least when it comes to some animes and even some animated series over here. When it comes to like superhero shows and whatnot, some voice actors really know how to capture like the character, like how Mark Hamill's
Do you think it's an
Joker.
anime?
Mark Hamill.
I was about to say, like, do you think it's like an anime thing? Like, do you think that just English actors can't animate as well because it's the format, or is it because I think we could agree that there's American animation that American voice actors do
Oh,
phenomenal
yeah.
work
Okay,
too.
so here's a good example. If anyone's watching this podcast, and even to you guys here, at the end of season 2, where Aaron is legit crying on the floor, where he's missing fingers, saying that he's a useless piece of garbage and doesn't know, like he can't do anything.
Yeah.
The Japanese voice actor really goes in with the crying.
Yes,
like,
he does.
He really goes in. But when you watch the dub, he is crying, he is going in, but I'm just not convinced that there's like this anguish inside. Maybe this is just me being biased. I'm willing to admit that, but I can only just be objective and or try to be objective and say that the Japanese one really sells that. Hey, Aaron really, really is in a state of desperation, of trying to do his best, but he can't. He's useless. He's just defeated, and that's really it. Of course, I'm using a popular series like Attack on Titan, but there's obviously some English animations where English voice acting where it's much better than Japanese, mainly because of the what do you call it, the the nonchalantness, I guess. One parody is I wouldn't call it parody, but the anime itself is a parody. It's called Cromartie High School, and the English dub is so good, and it's super funny, and I recommend watching it. But it's one of those few rare cases where the English dub is way better than the Japanese.
Speaking about hilarious English dubs, did you guys ever see Ghost Detective? Or I think it was called Ghost Stories or Ghost
No,
Detective.
I didn't.
I think let me find. Yeah, here you go. Ghost Stories anime. So this anime bombed in Japan. Like it did really, 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 really bad in Japan. It just didn't like take off or anything. So they were trying to like the anime. They would try to like to tell the story straight ahead. But when it got released here in America, the dubbing team just said, listen, man, we bought this on the cheap. We don't think this is going to take off. We don't even give a fuck about the script anymore. Make up the shit as you want. And I'm pretty sure you guys have seen the clips.
Yeah, and it's just
like,
just crazy.
Like, it's
lines.
the funniest shit ever. Where it's like, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal savior? And it's just like, and then he responds saying, "No, I'm Jewish." And he's like, "Oh, I talked to the rabbit," and the rabbit's like, "Touch me." And then he was so cute, "Touch me harder."
Yeah. It's
like
just
that.
They went crazy with it, and I loved it.
They were just memeing it. They were just like, "Fuck it, we know this is gonna bomb. We're just gonna go full all in on it."
It was great, honestly, an amazing just English version of the anime. It's awesome, dude.
Yeah, if you're gonna watch Ghost Stories, just watch the like only the dub because it's only worth your time.
Even Cromartie High School, like even the Japanese, like the people who created the series, says, watch it in English. It's actually like the superior version of it, and it's just, it's a funny anime. It makes no darn sense. It just is a mess, and I love it. But I think more than anything is just maybe it's the type of medium when it comes to the amount of support people have in cartoons and whatnot. Because if you look at video games, I'm hella convinced that whoever is doing the characters, like the voice acting for the certain characters, they do their job.
Oh,
well.
absolutely!
Like,
they get into their character.
Really well. Like even with God of War 4, the amount of how the director of the whole series says, "Hey, can we record this line one more time because I feel like it's not there yet." And when it comes to the voice of Kratos, and I'm glad that they did so much like nitpicking because the game's quality when it comes to voice acting came out super well, and I loved it. But I don't know what it is with the difference between getting a video game voice actor in English, which comes out phenomenal, but when it comes to an animated film or an animated show that comes from Japan and having voice actors here, it doesn't hit the same. I don't know why.
I think it's a lot of things. I think it's also the language barrier and a lot of interpretation and a lot of translations and things like that. I mean, I can only imagine that like when you take an anime, you're given the script, you have to read the script, and then you have to interpret it. And what if in a scenario where it's like you don't have like a visual way to see how the scene is being played? You know what I'm saying? Like Akira was completely dubbed without like any visual element to show to the to the voice actors. You know, when you're in the booth, they play the screen and they show you like what the character is doing, so you can be like, okay,
Like
this
in
is what
Dragon
my
Ball.
character's doing. Right, but with Akira, for example, they didn't have that. They were just told exactly how it is and how to interpret it.
Right.
Um, I think that's just like the big thing, especially when you're dealing with that because it's an international media, and you have to like do your own interpretation and the language barriers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say that we were talking about like with video game voice actors and stuff, and I think we can safely say that like David Hayter, the guy who did the voice of Snake, like that guy was like a real OG. Like that guy loved the role so much that he kept doing it so many times over. But so fascinating because like when he did this interview, because I'm pretty sure you guys know that David Hayter was not in Metal Gear Solid 5, and that caused a big uproar. Everyone was kind of like annoyed, like why the hell did you get rid of him? Why'd you replace him with this? I forgot the guy's name. I'll pull it up right now.
Mm-hmm.
And back then I thought, oh, they're just gonna only use this guy for motion capture, and then they'll use David Hayter's voice later, but they never did. And then David Hayter did this interview after when the game came out, and people were like asking him like what happened. He's like, well, to be fair though, like as much as I love the franchise and I kept working on it, Kojima's been wanting to replace me since Metal Gear Solid 3.
Jeez.
And I thought that was kind of heartbreaking. It was like, dude, like this, I mean, this is the same guy that like when they were doing the remake for Metal Gear Solid 1 to Twin Snakes, he personally took a pay cut so they could bring back all the original voice actors to come back for a rewritten script because he loved that game so much. And when he was asked like, would you ever work with Kojima again? He said like, no, I don't think I could ever work with him again. I respect him as an artist and creating the Metal Gear franchise, but I can't do it. And as far as I heard, he's never played Metal Gear Solid 5 because it just bothered him too much.
I mean, I don't blame him though.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Took a pay
let's see,
cut.
I guess, no.
One thing about when it comes to just video games in general,
Kiefer Sutherland. There we go. Kiefer Sutherland.
thing-
Which is fine because like I'm sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, the hater at least respects the shit out of Sutherland. Like he's like, yeah, I love Sutherland, but it kind of sucks that my character's being taken over by him.
one thing I do enjoy about just video games in general is just how some games where obviously they put a lot of detail in the game, like Red Dead Redemption 2, how Arthur Morgan, how obviously the game can go in many ways when it comes to like different main paths of the story that you can take, but there's also side missions and how you can complete those side missions. So the amount of voice acting lines that the voice actor himself or herself themselves need to say is just overwhelming. Like The Witcher 3, how Geralt had a bunch of lines, and how different side missions could lead to different consequences towards the end, and Geralt says one thing or he says another thing. It's just a lot of lines. And back to Red Dead 2, right before the game came out, they had to redo some scripts for Arthur about the horse, because whenever he was complimenting his horse and like basically just saying nice words to his horse, as they're riding,
You're a good girl.
the female horse, they were kind of wondering if they made it sound a little bit too sexual.
Yeah.
So they did the lines again, and I'm like, but the way he coos at his horse, whether it be male or female, already sounds a little bit like a little bit, a little
Sus, a little bit on the fur, and it looked like Arthur dabbles in the fur affinity accounts.
God,
You know what I'm
come
saying?
on,
Like,
guys.
But here's the thing, though. Speaking about Arthur Morgan's voice actor, there's this meme going around with the him saying "get up," basically like an alarm clock sound, where he says, "Come on, partner, get up. If you don't get up, I'll get you out of bed, dead or alive. Oh, don't make me get my 6-shooter. Don't be like Uncle. You got lumbago." And it's a funny alarm clock tone, which I have an alarm clock, and every time I wake up with Arthur Morgan screaming in my ear, and it brings me back. It brings me back.
He also offers you jelly beans whenever you try to arrest him.
Well, it wasn't there, but it wasn't in the voice acting part. But
No, No. Like it was just like one of those like short like TikTok memes he was sending, and like someone edited like when Milton was like saying like Mr. Morgan, you got 5,000 head on your head alone, and then it cuts
Mm-hmm.
to Roger Clark
Mm-hmm.
just saying like got some jelly beans.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least Rockstar did something good when it came to that game, because GTA 5 is not looking too hot for me. I hope it uh I hope GTA
I mean, you
6
just
becomes better than GTA 5.
yeah, don't worry. Eventually, like we'll have enough clickbaity videos about GTA 6 leaks for the years to come.
Mm-hmm. Speaking about video games, the director of Overwatch, Jeff Kaplan, he quit Blizzard.
Left. Yeah,
That's nice.
Ooh, that's kind. You
Yeah, I
think
don't
so?
like Overwatch. Not anymore, at least. I tried to get into that game. Like, I really gave it my all.
Yeah, I probably have said this like time and time again. I loved the shit out of the beta. I played the hell out of that beta, man. But something about that final game, I don't know, it just didn't click with me anymore. And then later, when all that social shit was coming out about like all these rules, and I went back to play Overwatch again.
Rule
The
34.
last time I played Over was like literally a couple months ago when I was building my sister's computer. And my favorite thing about like whenever you build someone a computer, you like to play all the games in front of them
Oh,
and show
yeah.
like, look how good the game
Yeah.
looks and how smooth it runs and blah 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 blah. But of course, she only played about playing The Sims and Jedi Fallen Order, so she didn't
Well,
really give a
Jedi
fuck.
Fallen
But
Order is a pretty gnarly looking game. So,
it is, but it's also oddly optimized for me. At least I can't in good faith say that game runs really well, which is really surprising considering it came from Respawn Entertainment.
Game was so good.
But yeah, no, it's great. I just never finished it. I never got around to finishing it. But yeah, Overwatch. So I'm assuming that you guys have all played it.
A bit, not much.
I played some of it. Yeah, I played a little bit of. I played a little bit of Jedi Fallen Order, and I played a little bit of Overwatch. Like,
Are you guys gonna give Overwatch
No.
a try when it comes out?
no.
Or? No, you're not gonna. Okay.
Unless they bring out some really good, like something completely different than Overwatch 2, where some parts are, still an homage from the original game, and they're still true to the core, but then they make the game a whole lot more like innovative, a lot more things to do. It's just
Nope.
I had my share with TF2. Okay, and even then, I
Yeah.
still go back to TF2 because it's still a meme fest with TF2. TF2 is still great. Team Fortress 2 is just going to be one of those games that probably is never going to retire until, like, I don't know, maybe one day it's going to have, like, really, really low attendance when it comes to online game, and then out of nowhere, a TF2 update. They're going to update the heavy, and I was like, holy shit, and everyone goes back on TF2.
I doubt it. As far as like from what I've gathered from the general TF2 community, they kind of accepted that like TF2 was kind of like not in Valve's like priority list right now. They it's pretty low, but at least the community will always be there, whether through
Yeah,
servers,
through mods, updates.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Even
think the
casual
community is
servers,
always
too.
gonna,
The
Yeah.
casual servers where people just do nothing except, like, dance.
it's not my thing is that like when Overwatch when TF2 tries to be like uber competitive like with a competitive mode and things like that, I think it kind of falls flat, which they really do the whole like queuing thing. They try to make a rank mode and things like that, but it's a little bit too lopsided. Like, you would take like 20 minutes to queue up for a rank game, and like the game will last for like 10 minutes, and then you got to queue up again and things like that. When I played TF2, I played a lot of just like this one server where I just mainly play it just for hanging out with people, because the people on that server were really nice and really friendly when I was thinking I was still in high school. And it was 24-hour T-Fort, 2-Fort. That was all it was. Just 24 hours of that over and over and over again. And we just like shoot the shit. It was a really fun game. It was really fun just to hang out with and just,
Just
rocket
just
jump everywhere.
delete TF2, download Gary's mod, and download CS Source, and go play Prop Hunt and hit the F4 button until you get running through the 90s, so you can just glitch on repeat.
I can't even remember the last time I fucking... I can't remember the last time I even played
And
Gary's
Gary's mod's so
Man,
good.
I missed...
though.
I remember when
It is.
Trouble in Terrorist Town was like the hot thing. I mean, like I
TTT.
played Trouble in Terrorist. I played Trouble in Terrorist Town in VR through Pavlov. That was fun.
Really?
Yeah. I got back into playing VR recently. Now that the Resident Evil 4 is finally getting a VR port, finally. Let's just be honest, the Resident Evil 4 is the Skyrim for Capcom at this point.
Yeah, but at least Resident Evil 4 was good comparatively when it comes
To Skyrim.
yeah compared to Skyrim. But I never played Resident Evil 4, so I can't say much about that.
How? That's crazy though.
Yeah, I didn't play
Hey
any
man,
I
Resident
didn't
Evil
play
4.
Res.
I haven't even touched that game.
hey man, it's simple. I had parents who said, "Oh, rated M game." Nah.
What are you talking
Really? You
about,
had
dude?
Wait,
I used
hold
to
up.
bring
That's
over my
not right.
freaking my PS3 when we played zombies on COD. That was a rated M
Oh,
game.
I didn't know I owned your consoles and games. You see, people.
Wait, your parent.
What?
Wait, Marcos. Really? Your mom didn't let you buy rated M
I
games?
think it was more my dad, but if someone brought it over, they didn't care. But if I want, I had Turok for the GameCube because it was given to me,
Uh
and
huh.
I think the only part that they sort of were okay with was me killing dinosaurs. But when it came to fighting the dinosaur humanoids, they were like, that's kind of not like right. They didn't like GTA because GTA was like, a little bit too like
It was a hot button. Yeah.
right. So like they wouldn't really outright buy rated M games for me when I had my own GameCube. But when it came to the 360, they didn't care if I had an M rated game. They honestly didn't care. So when the 360 was already out for a while, and I bought what was it? I bought World at War, I bought Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, and I bought something else. And then they didn't care if it was a rated M game. They just like, all right, cool, whatever.
Well, you bought them, right? You bought them, or did they buy it for
I
you?
bought it, but they didn't care it was rated
You
M at that point. But when it
okay?
came to the GameCube era, when it came to the yeah, GameCube era, PS2 era, all that stuff, I didn't have a rated M game. So that's why I never got a chance to play Resident Evil 4. It's that simple, and I'm sure a lot of people share my story, but
No, I believe it. I just always been kind of surprised. Kenny, was your parents like that too, or they didn't give
The
a
only
fuck?
thing that they really cared about was me playing online, so I could play rated M games. I mean, I had a PS2 and my mom didn't like me playing GTA 3 for
yeah.
some reason, but aside from GTA 3, like I was playing Halo 2 and playing.
Now, did your mom buy GTA 3, or did
I
you
got
get it
it
or something?
through my stepdad because he had like GTA 3 and he brought it. So
Okay.
I had that. I started playing it, and then my mom saw that what I was actually doing in that game, and she's like, "No, I don't want you playing that game." So she just took the disc, and then I don't know, like one day, I don't one day, not one day later, but like later on down the line, she gave it back to me so I can play. When I was a little bit
Oh, so it
older,
wasn't.
she just didn't want me to
Oh,
play
okay.
GTA 3 in like elementary school.
At a really young
Yeah,
age.
so like I was
Mm-hmm.
playing Halo
Okay.
and Halo 2 and I'd have friends come over and we'd play with multiple controllers and stuff. And I
Yep.
also
But it was your copy
and
of
I
Halo.
had yeah, a genuine copy of Halo.
Okay. Okay. No, because I might. Okay. So
Hey.
when I was a kid,
Uh
well,
huh. Go ahead.
I was to say, when I was a kid, my mom never really gave a shit because like she'd be like, "Hey, you're gonna play Grand Theft Auto. Okay, mom. Do you know that what you're doing is bad? Yes, mom. You're not gonna do anything bad about it. You're not gonna kill anybody, right? No, mother. Okay, enjoy it." And that was the end of that story. Rarely did my mom ever gave a shit about violent video games, especially when I was a kid, because she trusted in me. It's like, well, what's fake and real. You're not gonna get
Yeah.
like horribly mentally
Yeah.
scarred. I used to play Grand Theft Auto Vice City, 3, San Andreas a lot. I don't think I could get away playing Manhunt when I was a kid. I don't know if I could play Manhunt in the living room and like just tell my mom I'm not a crazy person. Uh, but I can tell you guys a funny story whenever I talk about like violent video games. So I'm pretty sure you guys remember the stink and the hubbub that was when Bully was announced.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was
Yeah.
like the controversy. Grand Theft Auto was bad, but when you find out the same people who made Grand Theft Auto are making a bullying game,
Mm-hmm.
that was a whole can of worms. And let me tell you this funny ass story, man. So and just to put in perspective, I grew up playing like Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PlayStation 2, right? I used to play like the Gambit on the PlayStation 2. And never forget this moment where my aunt, she wanted to do this little cute little family thing where it's like, all right, guys, everyone come together. We're gonna watch this like programming about violent video games and how they ruin kids and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, and me and my mom are like rolling our eyes, like, all right, let's go watch the stupid thing that Auntie wants to watch because it's gonna change our minds and realize how violent video games are bad. And so we're watching this thing. They're doing the usual stink about like, oh, violent video games, violent tendencies, blah 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 blah. But I'll never forget when in the middle of all that showing, they showed off a trailer for Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. And I ponderously peeped up, looked at my mom on the side, and said, hey, they released a sequel to Metal Gear Solid 2. Can we go pick it up? She looked over at me. She's like, yeah, we'll go to the mall later and get it. And my aunt was pissed. She was livid. And she was like, aren't you guys paying attention? Don't you understand that this is bad for your brain and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, who the fuck are you to tell me that my kid is a fucking psychopath, auntie? You can't tell him that. He's a good kid.
I just, hey, Kenny, after hearing Daniel say all that, I just realized the way he says blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Is stuck in my head now. Like, that's the way he says it.
Bro, I seen a video on YouTube of a guy that does like YouTube poop pretty much.
I miss those.
He did the Kirby song, like the entire Kirby song, with one word, and it was the word Kirby.
Disgusting.
And he played it in one of his YouTube videos, and it got stuck in my head. He's like, I had to listen to that for years. I'm tired of listening to that song. And then he played it. I was like, no, now I have to listen to this dang song. But on the overprotective side of parents, to get back onto the topic,
wait, but did you watch the whole video, Daniel, about or whatever the thing was?
Yeah, we watched the stupid special. Like, it was a fucking joke. Like, and then later when Bully came out, you find out that the game is about, like, a bully and fighting back bullies and shit. And, like, that didn't stick at all. My mom just didn't buy it. Like, she just said that, like, hey, you can't you could play video games when you're done with your homework, and that's fine. If you know that what you're doing is bad in the video games, you're fine. Like, you don't show any violent tendencies, you're fine. Like, my mom didn't buy into any of that crap. Either it's neglect or she just was smarter than the average parent.
Definitely smarter than the average parent.
I like to give my mom the credit and just be like, no, I think she just knows that she doesn't buy into stupid fucking drama and shit, and just realize that, no, this is fucking stupid. Mm-hmm. It's just lazy parents having crazy kids playing their video games all day and not being taught that this is bad.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I think
so. So that was the story how I found out Metal Gear Solid 3 came out, because there was no internet back then. I didn't know the game was even out yet, so we went to the mall and picked it up later, and we gave the bird to my aunt, and then we went on our merry way.
Also, like, studies have shown that violent video games don't cause more violent tendencies. The only thing it does cause is a desensitization of certain things, like when it comes to, like, even GTA, when it comes to that kind of violence and stuff, people get desensitized from, like, seeing it in real life, in contrast to someone who's never played GTA or has never been in that environment. It's something that you see it often enough where you're like, in at least in a virtual reality, where you're just like, oh, it's happening here, but when it's in real life, sometimes you see it, you're like, hey, I've seen this before. I get it.
Yeah, but I would make the argument saying that if your kid is going to go crazy because you played a lot of GTA, your kid probably has something going on deeper than just the video game made him do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think that's what people are trying to just find the easiest.
Yeah, they're
course
trying
of
to
action.
justify it.
Right.
They're just trying to say,
yeah,
hey,
they'll be like, if it's not video games, it's rock music. If it's rock music, it's comic books. If it's this, it's that.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's the blame game.
right, just blaming it and all that stuff on different things, not knowing, like, there's a different core issue. Sure, maybe there could be some negative effects of video games that could show in reality if you're just constantly on it. I mean, you can even look at Korea in gaming cafes where people legit just end up collapsing and dying because they're just there for too long and their body went a while without any water or food, and you just legit kick the bucket.
Yeah, but right, no, I get that, but my thing is that it's not the video game's fault, it's the person. There's probably something going. Like, my thought process wouldn't be, oh my god, this Korean dude just died in the cafe because he hasn't eaten or taken care of himself. My first thought isn't the fucking StarCraft he's playing. I'm gonna be like, no, that guy probably has something going on in his mental state that makes him think that this is acceptable.
Right. I think more than anything, I mean, even my dad, when I was in elementary school, he wouldn't let me watch Adult Swim because it was mostly shows that had the TV rating for MA, and he didn't care. Like, he didn't want me to watch all that stuff. Like, even Family Guy, there were some episodes of Family Guy that were MA, and he goes, no, you can't watch this because it's MA. There was this one anime that appeared in Toonami. It was like 3 in the morning. I couldn't sleep. It was on a weekend. I can't remember what it was, but it was rated TV 14. And my dad walked in. He saw the rating. He saw it was also Adult Swim. He's like, "Hey, you can't be watching Adult Swim." I was like, "Yeah, but it says TV 14, and there's no blood." And he goes, "All right, whatever." And he just walked away, but he wouldn't let me watch anything that had MA on it. So I guess the obviously once I hit middle school, my parents didn't care about that much about it. So it is what it is. But I was the hyper kid back when I was a wee young lad. So I guess my parents were sort of convinced, like, hey, you can't have him play too much GTA or GTA at all because this kid has too much energy. So I could see the rationale for it, but it went away after a while once they realized, like, it's all right.
Yeah, for me it was like
Yeah, the only time
online. Like I had issues with my mom having me play with games that were online. So like, remember? I'm not sure if you remember Chris or not, but he had activated my PSP to have online services. At the time, I didn't know that was even possible, and my mom was like, "No, you need to take that off of his PSP instantly."
Yeah, I remember back in then people didn't understand what it meant when the DS had Nintendo Wi-Fi. I remember having to explain to someone, it's like, yeah, you connect to your router and then later you can get internet. Um, the only time my mom ever took video games away from me was when I flunked the third grade because I was like really depressed and things like that. I eventually that was like the only time she ever took away video games from me because I had to focus on getting my grades back. Thankfully, I only had to like retake third grade for like 2 months, and they're like, "All right, retake this test and you'll be fine." And I retook it, and I went back to the fourth grade, and everything went fine from there.
Yeah, I never
Yeah,
failed
no,
a grade.
I felt third.
oh, thank goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I think we're glad that we got out of high school because I don't know if for any of our listeners here in the state that aren't in the state of Florida, back then there used to be only one test you had to take in order to pass like elementary, middle, and I think high school. But by the time like my sister went to the high school, dude, they acted like so many fucking tests. Like there was like 8 different
no
tests
way,
with all like different. Dude, it
no
was
way.
crazy. I don't know if you remember this. When I was in high school, I remember my senior year of high school, they put all these like beta tests out there that like we would just sit in a computer room and we would take like so many different tests and it was like all pointless. You know, you're talking to a bunch of seniors who don't give a
Yeah,
fuck and you're telling them like, hey, we need you guys to take this test because we want to get a sample size. Don't worry about
senioritis.
passing or failing. It doesn't really matter. So, of course, the data is going to be ridiculously skewed that no one can pass it. But to be fair, though, the test was ridiculously stupid. Like I will never forget this question that bogged the shit out of me for years. So you're given no context for this question,
Okay.
mind you. There's no passage you have to read, no narrative, no nothing. You just read a question, and I shit you not, the question was, by 1985, what was Florida famous for? Oranges, pears, apples, or a concert? I don't fucking know. Just out of the blue.
I bet it
What the
was
fuck?
I bet it was oranges, but
I bet it oranges too, but I don't
I
fucking
bet it
know.
was also a concert.
It probably was like a,
I
I
bet
don't
it
fucking know,
was
dude, but
I
it
bet
was
it
like
was a freaking concert that's here in Miami every year usually.
about oranges or some shit. I don't know, dude. It
Well, I
was from
mean, maybe
1985.
they were just testing random knowledge for folks to see, like, hey, we have statistics that prove this, and that on.
That people know what happened in
No,
1985
it's not
from
even about
kids who
that.
were
It's just
born.
general knowledge,
Oh
I
wow.
guess. And it's,
Yeah, but like, but if you go to any Floridian and you just say to them, "Hey, what was Florida famous for in 1985?"
I think you're
What the
looking
fuck?
too much into it, though. To tell you the truth,
What do you
because
mean, Mark?
you even said it yourself. It was a beta test. Like it's
Yeah,
honestly
but
like
it's
random
like if you're gonna
question.
make a test, you gotta like give context to it. You don't just
I
half-ass it.
guess, but I feel like you were emotionally distraught from this question alone.
Oh no, I just thought it was hilarious. I just think it's just really fucking stupid. But you know, that was like the point. I thought like, man, thank goodness they're not gonna make all these tests legitimate. And then when my sister went to high school, like, oh yeah, everything is legitimate, and it's like now everything matters.
I think I've never had an issue with high school or middle school with testing. Testing always came easy to me. It's never been a problem.
Oh no, I was just talking about like just all the different beta testing, that little saga they did where they experimented with all these tests, but you know they would tell us it didn't matter, so we would just all do them.
Right. I think.
I'm just saying is that like back then it was that simple, you know, because we brought up like how you and me flunked third grade at one point. Like back then it was just the FCAT. You
Well,
Yeah,
flunked it.
you
You
flunked it.
I
And you get
flunked for other reasons though. I was moving elementary schools a bunch at that moment, and
oh
it was like I missed a lot. So I failed mainly because I didn't. What was it? I moved from one part of the school from one part of the city to another part, and then what they were teaching in his new part in his new school was sort of like off, and then I missed
yeah,
a good amount of chunk of knowledge. So I'm just like, hey, I guess this is cool, but like
you're
that was
behind essentially.
basically
You're out
behind.
of
Yeah, everyone else was
yeah.
like there were things that I already covered that they were covering in this new school, and then there were things that I didn't know that were
right.
already covered and they can't go back for me. So I was like, eh. So I got dealt with a
Yeah,
short hand on the stick.
you were skewed from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just got really skewed. Yeah, I get what you're coming from. That similar thing happened to me when I went to college for the first time. God, I such a stupid semester. I went to school, and I'm not gonna name the college's name, but eventually they put me into this into this art class, right? And then they said, "Oh, sorry, this isn't the class you're supposed to take. We're gonna switch you over." I'm like, "Okay, cool." They switched me over mid semester, only to find out because they switched me over mid semester, all the assignments that I missed to that new class still counted against me. So I was fucked from the
Oh
start,
wow.
but I didn't even know it at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as you can imagine, I did not have the best time in college. So I was already fucked from the start.
That's why I wanted to go for a technical college when I was going to high school. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go to a regular college because that sounds like trash, and also end up being in
It
debt,
is.
possibly student loan debt.
Yeah.
Nah, I ain't gonna do it.
Coming out of
No,
high school in debt.
it was a
Yeah, it sucks.
You can. That's crazy. You can. Some people can't even vote yet, but you can put yourself in thousands of dollars in debt because of student loans.
yep.
Yeah, it's
Thank God.
insane.
That's the one thing I'm grateful for. I did not take out any student loans because that would have killed me.
I think more than anything when it comes to schooling, a lot of people had different experiences. Obviously, people were sort of sad about the fact that hey, that they're no longer in school because some people use school as a medium to escape
Mhm.
their reality at home and whatnot. Some people use school to
As
just
a
see their
social-
friends for social issues. Some people just use like, hey, school's like I don't like school. It's like it's a waste of time for me and all that stuff. So like I get what a lot of people didn't like high school. I get why people didn't like school in general. I never saw that problem. It was pretty cool for me. Just like
Yeah,
I
wish
never
could
liked
go back
being
to high
home.
school.
Wait, what happened?
Said I wish I can go back to high school.
Yeah, sometimes.
I don't.
One thing I never liked was on a weekday staying home at school because all of my friends were at school. I couldn't play games with my friends online because they were at school. I couldn't go outside and play because my friends were at school. So I'm just like, so what's like, what I do? Sleep in more and then just be bored? I guess.
I watched
Oh,
The Price
I'm
is
sorry.
Right.
I
That's
lived
what you do.
across
You
the
watch The Price
street,
is Right.
dude.
Yeah, but you were in
But you
school.
weren't- You were in school.
Remember
Yeah.
the whole point of the argument? Like, so I just went to school.
Yeah.
Like he basically saying that like he hates staying home on a school day because he has no
And
no
the
one to
day
hang
goes
out
by.
with or
Well,
talk.
one of the main reasons I hated it more than anything is because the day felt like it was going by so slow, and I didn't like that. So I was. Just
I
like,
didn't mind
what
that
I
because
hate-
I get to play my video games all day.
I wouldn't mind it either,
Yeah.
but online games are so much fun, more fun with your friends.
Yeah, this is true, but you find a game that you're really into and that you have a lot of fun with, you just play that all day. Like I
The
did.
only exception for me was Red Dead Redemption Online. I was cracked on that game,
Dude,
but even then, it was just
do you
Eh.
remember when
I
I was
just-
out
I'd
of
rather
school for like
play with my friends.
Do you remember when I was out of school for like 2
Wait.
weeks?
2
Yeah, I was
weeks.
out of school for 2 weeks. I had gotten my tonsils removed. I was like 15.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, literally, I asked to play. I asked for my mom to buy me Lost Planet 2 because I saw the game and I thought it was interesting.
Was it good?
It was, but I got lost very fast.
Like you're in a lost planet.
I'm just playing. But seriously, like, I got lost in the game really fast.
Oh, okay.
Like it wasn't. It wasn't
That was
enjoyable,
a
but
Capcom
yeah,
game,
but
right?
it was fun. Like the cover mechanics were good. The shooting felt nice. Like the game wasn't
The only
bad.
thing I know, the only thing I know about Lost Planet is the fact that one of the robots is a fighter in Tatsunoko versus Capcom, which is a very underrated fighter. I think if it was released other than the Wii, it probably would have taken off a little bit
But
more.
had I did not played that game, I felt like my time would have gone by slowly. That and like Halo Reach. I think Halo Reach was out by that
Yeah, I love
time.
that.
Yeah, it was
When you get to
2011.
take a day off, when you can take a day off and just play that one game and get completely immersed into it, man, that shit is the best.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was transitioning between accounts and my old call center job, I was so happy it was in the week when Metal Gear Solid 5 was coming out because I put a lot of
Can
hours
we
into
all
Metal Gear
just
Solid
like
5.
take a
Whether
moment and homage the fact that everybody would call out of school when a new COD game would come out?
yes, I was about to. Let me actually. That's a good question. I always ask this question to people. Have you guys ever blatantly skipped a
Yep.
day from either work or school for a
Yep.
video game? Okay, what game was it,
Let's
Kenny?
see. I had Halo 3 ODST. I had Call of Duty Black Ops or Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2. Trying to think what other game that was real big. I think Battlefield 3 or 4. And
So these are school
yeah,
days you
these are school
skipped.
days that I skipped
Okay.
because I
Okay.
wanted to play my dang video game that I had just gotten. Halo Reach was a big one for me. That I remember when that game came in the mail. I got the legendary edition, so it was like $150 with the statue.
How did you? So what did you do? Did you pretend to be sick, or did you just tell your mom
I
like I'm not
yeah, I
going to
told my
school
mom,
today?
I'm like, Mom, I don't want to go into school tomorrow. I'm getting my video game. She's like, okay. So I wouldn't go to
Wow.
school that day.
I would if I did that to my mom, I would get a belt to the back and still go to school.
Yeah, no, I there's so many days that I missed because, well, one, I wouldn't want to, or two, there was a new video game coming out, and then like
Have you ever
sometimes it was
skipped
genuine,
work?
like me being sick. Skipping work, no, I don't think I've skipped a day of work for a video game.
Okay,
I
and it
know,
could be
I know.
anything.
In
It could
like
be you just
later
called.
light, like later after high school with work and all, I'm not that big into playing the video game that day. I mean, I played Black Ops Cold War then pretty much the minute it came out, but that was just a little bit of hype. Aside from that, like
Yeah,
most of the games that I purchase physically now, I don't even wait to open them up till the day after, if not 2 days after I get them, because I'm
yeah,
not. I'm not how I used to be. I'm not a kid. It's not as exciting.
yeah. I get it's kind of it is difficult. I can't remember the last time like I got that excitement of like, man, I can't wait to play this game. I get out of the shrink wrap.
Yeah.
You dedicate your entire day to play it. Like I'm the kind of guy that's like a good example was I posted this on Twitter. I finally got my physical copy of Scott Pilgrim versus the World from Limited Run Games, and I didn't even know it was coming that day. Like I literally walked into the living room, saw a pink bag, and I thought it was like something like my mom and my sister ordered because they order like all this girl shit on Facebook and
Yeah.
stuff, and it always comes in like in a pink bag. And then I saw it was for my name on it, and I opened it up and it was a physical and it was my copy of Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which took months to get here, but I'm happy to God I got like all this neat shit, and I was like, neat, put it on the shelf and forgot about it.
Exactly. Like that's the thing. I had bought. I think it was when I had bought Demon Souls. It sat in my fiance's trunk for 2 days before I said, "Oh
Nah, the
crap, I
first
need to
thing I
get
did
that
when I
out." Then what was it? There was another game that I had gotten that I was just like, "Okay, I'm gonna play this," and then I just forgot about it for like 3 days, and I was like, "Oh, it's right. Let me open this game up and download the game because new consoles require you to download
this
everything."
yeah, this don't mean shit
They
anymore.
really don't. They just have a code that allows you to play the game. That's all it is.
I was actually kind of surprised when I had like the OG 500 gigabyte PS4, and I was like, only could put like 3 discs in before it's like, oh, you gotta uninstall a game to put the fourth one in.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like when you put the disc in, the game is like sort of downloaded
Oh,
into
on the
the hard drive and
PS4?
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the
yeah,
original
yeah.
PS4 before I got the Pro model. Um, But yeah, like I've been fairly good at like not buying games at launch anymore. Like back when Andres used to have like the Gamers Club unlocked, like I would pre-order every
Right.
game because I would be like, but I get to save $10. I mean, like I have to get it. It'd be stupid not to get whatever runs out. Blah 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 blah. And I just like every time I get a new game, I'll think about
Yeah.
playing it and I'll put it in the shelf and
Yeah,
forget about
well,
it. Like I picked up fucking Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and I was like really excited. I fucking went and got it before I went to work. And then it's still sitting on my shelf. I haven't even touched it yet.
and that's the thing. I now I get games that I know I'm gonna play, and games that I pre-order are really like just games that I'm going to play. So like,
Yeah, like I when I buy a game now, it has to be like when I come home, I'm going to play
Yeah.
it. Like it's no longer just I'm just gonna have it. It's like if I'm buying it, I'm going to play it at that moment.
so like, for instance, this new game Returnal, when that comes out, I just found out it's a roguelike game. A lot of people are giving it good reviews. I haven't pre-ordered it yet because, you know, I don't.
I mean, is there a point?
No, really. Like, there's a lot of games that used to give you incentive for pre-orders. Now,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, here, get this one cosmetic skin and like maybe an emote, and you're just sitting there like, man, you used to get some more meaningful stuff, and you just don't anymore.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know. I just always wondered, like back in the day when the only game I could legitimately say to people like it was worth pre-ordering was Brawl because that game became difficult to get, very, very difficult
that's
to get.
true.
So
But
That's true.
there's now a big line between pre-ordering and like shit running out, and then just buying
Right,
it
like, I can't remember
online.
the
Like
last
you can
time
just
they-
buy games online now,
Yeah.
and it's like they will never run
Yeah.
out.
Exactly. It's like I can't think of a scenario where it's like, "Hey, I'm here to pick up the latest Madden. Oh, we're out of Maddens." I mean, like how? And it's like, what are you gonna do? Like complain about it? No, you're probably just gonna go home and download
Exactly,
the game at that
you'll
point.
just
You
buy
get
it
for your pre-order.
online.
Mm-hmm.
But Brawl was the exception because that game became very difficult to get your hands
Yeah,
on.
gotta give
after
thanks to
launch.
Melee for that.
Yeah, no, for sure. The hype for Brawl, man. I still remember in middle school, like every day, like checking the Smash Dubs.
I
we were
had
getting hyped,
Brawl.
and we found out Lucario was
Brawl
coming out, and we were
dope
like,
as
"Oh my
shit.
god, this is so
Hell
good."
Yeah, dude. Brawl was dope.
But,
I broke a
Daniel,
Wii
Marcos-
controller on a carpet for that game, dude. I was so mad.
I was such a smooth brain. I used to play Brawl with the Wii remote on the side.
That's how I
thought
played
it's
it.
a 2D game.
Just
Hell
you guys
yeah,
are
dude.
Scum.
Yeah, we're fucking awful people, dude. I didn't even find, dude. When I found out that the Wii had fucking GameCube controller support, I fucking lost my shit.
No, so I had
Whoa,
I had a
this thing-
GameCube controller hooked up to my Wii, and one of my neighbors, I told him, I was like, dude, stop pulling the controller. You're gonna drop my Wii. Stop pulling the controller. You're gonna drop my Wii. Next thing you know, he pulls the controller, drops my Wii. It gets Brawl stuck in the disk drive, and
Oh no!
and I'm there with a broken Wii. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do now,
You drop him.
bro? It really that really pissed me off. I went home.
I always tell that to people is like you drop it, I drop you. It's your call.
It
Hey,
just
Daniel,
I was just really mad.
did you ever skip
No, I
school for a
wouldn't.
game or work? Did you ever skip?
Did I ever
All
skip
Call
games
of
for school or work?
Duties.
No, fuck that. No. I can't say no. I don't know. No, I can't think of a scenario where I purposely skipped work or school for a video game.
Have you ever
I can't-
snuck
I don't
out
think
of
I've ever done
school?
it. No, I never.
I
Snuck out of
was
school.
I was able
Well,
to.
Well, I snuck out of school with. Wait, does it count if you snuck out of school with family support or
No, just by yourself.
Never done it by myself, but I could have. I probably could have. I literally had a job, so I could just say, "Oh, I'm going to work." My stepdad picked me up
No,
early.
I
'cause he
didn't
was
do
just
that
like, "Hey."
either. I literally snuck past security, everything.
I never snuck out of
I
school.
had perfect
Never-
attendance throughout
never
whole
did.
high school because I had nothing else to do outside of high school, so I was like, whatever, I'll stay here.
He had Skyrim. That was his
I-
second job, was Skyrim.
Have you? So, Marcos, have you ever skipped work or school for video games or anything
Oh,
else?
did you not hear what I said just like 2 seconds ago? I had perfect
He had
attendance. in
No,
high
I mean,
perfect
but it could be. I
attendance.
mean, like in your job too. I mean, like your job.
He
I
has
mean,
perfect
not
attendance
really.
there too.
attendance. He just lives at his
Yeah,
job.
actually, like, I have crazy amounts of moments where like I just play nonstop once I get home,
Play
but I
nonstop
don't
Skyrim.
like, but I don't really care for a game so much that I'm like, I'm gonna skip this to play a couple hours earlier. That's honestly like I never saw the appeal to it, and when I did, like what kids did it in high school, like even when Kenny did it, I just thought it was like kind of dumb, and I'm like, why? I just never.
Because they want to be the first, bro. You want to get prestige.
Yeah,
That's when
you
you
know
go
what's
back to
crazy
school the
is
next
like,
day, and you get all the bitches. That's when you
yeah,
get
my
all
KD
the
ratio
bitches.
is at a 4.0. It's like,
So, do you want to touch my 1 inch wiener? I promise it won't come immediately.
Um. Right. So no, I never did it. Video games never really like, oh, I have to skip school just for this or that. I mean, I did spend a good amount of summer vacation playing Red Dead 1, and that's how I got
Yeah.
cracked AF on it. But other than that, no, not even for work. Like I never got like super excited for a game to the point where I needed to change my schedule to go to it to just play it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm never. Well, I think in middle school was the last time I got like super excited for a video game, like for when it was going to be released. But like once I hit high school, like my mentality changed on a lot of things, and one of them being like with video games. So I'm just like, yeah, cool. I guess a game's coming out. That's all right. That's swell. But like, I'll play it eventually. So like that was my mindset. Just like it'll come eventually. So that's why I'm like not super excited for like any other game. So unless there's pre-order
I,
bonuses, I wouldn't really even pre-order the game either.
I guess the reason I just always thought that the reason was because I just thought it was interesting. I remember this one kid who like didn't go to school, showed up the last period, and then they were like, "Oh, why'd you show up late?" He's like, "Oh, I went to pick up my pre-order for Modern Warfare 2."
I don't.
And I'm like, "Then why the fuck did you come
Yeah,
back?
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
why?
just
Why you already were late? You showed up at 6th period. Who the fuck cares?
sixth
Stay home."
period. Jesus Christ, he probably did play all day.
Yeah, but why go back to school?
Because he couldn't miss one thing in that one class. I don't know.
That's, I guess. Yeah. I
But
guess you
speaking
could
about
put it-
sneaking out, Kenny, there were some times where I was in the dual enrollment program for school, and I only had our high school, for anyone who's listening, was divided into 6 periods, and you get your odds and even days, and well, I had the same. What was it? The same couple classes every other day because
Yep.
I would only attend half the amount of times. So the thing was is that when I didn't go to technical college school, my dual enrollment school, I was like, okay, so there's really nothing to do. So it wasn't really sneaked out. Sometimes the security guard would be like, hey, you guys are from this school, and we're like, yeah. It's like, all right, you can just like go, I guess. We don't care. And even when it came to lunchtime, like they let us walk out and walk back in because we weren't really skipping school because we had no more classes. Because
Mhm.
Yeah, because you.
I was in dual enrollment, all my classes were already done at the half of the day, and that was really it. So we would just walk out and come back in, and that's how you gotta treat your security right. So at first they're like, no, they couldn't let us do it. So the one time there was one lady, and I sweet talked her, and I go, what do you want from McDonald's? Because I'm only going to
I
McDonald's
wrote a
and I'm
speech
coming
check.
back. And like, what do you want from McDonald's? It'll be on me. And then after a while, it was for her, and then the security guards, so like, they'll just let me go out, get some food to come back, and they didn't even pay me. I just was like, that's all I wanted to do was just get some food to come back. That's all I did want to do. So that's really it. And most of the time, I didn't want to leave school because I had to I had to take people home because I was the only person with a car. So I had other responsibilities. So yeah, that was really it. So
Yeah.
no, I never snuck out.
When I snuck out, I was with Steven and his now ex girlfriend Pitty. Um, it was kind of funny because we were hiding under the staircase there, waiting for the security guard to move. Conveniently,
Those
a
are funny.
teacher
Those are
had
where
came
the-
in
all the
with like
weaves-
a bunch of bags. So, it was near the end of the school year. It was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before we graduated as seniors, and we were tired. I mean, it was like probably third period. We're all just walking around or not third period, the second period, whatever our second class was of the day. It was right after lunch. We were all walking around and stuff, and we watched the security guard just like go and grab this teacher's bags, and we walk out. We walk out, and then we noticed him starting to walk back, and he didn't notice us, so we hid behind some cars. Thankfully, I guess some girl at the school saw us out there and like started talking to the security guard to sway his attention, I got in the car. Like, we all got in the car and just drove off.
I feel
Yep.
that.
And
I remember
there was nothing they could do.
I remember in that high school sometimes like the security guard would turn around, turn back and see in the student parking lot a car drive away, and then he would call it on his radio, saying, "Hey, this vehicle went out to this color," and like immediately you would see the school police officers just go out and just on the streets, and I'm like, "Hey, get wrecked, kid."
Yeah, thankfully that didn't happen. I mean, it was near the end of the school year, anyways, too. And we were about
I was
to.
a cool older sibling that my sister would text me and be like, "Hey, can you pick me up? There's nothing going on." I'm like, "Sure, no problem." So I would just pick her up and just be like, "All right, let's go."
Oh wow, the fact that they let you do that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm technically one of her guardians, so they like, "All right, you all right? You can pick her up." I'm like, "All right, let's go." I wish I had that when I was in high school. What were you guys like in school? To me, I was like the loner kid, especially by high school. I just did not want to. I treated high school like I treated my jobs, where it's like I go to school, I do my time, and then I go home.
I'm the meme lord.
I didn't care. I had a very my only group of friends were you guys and a small number of people, but I kept to myself because I did not give a fuck about people or drama or shit like that. It's like, look, man, I just want to go home and play video games. I don't want to deal with. I don't want.
Exactly.
I remember my sister used to be like, "Danny, how can you be such a loner?" It's like, well, when you're a loner, you only got to deal with your own personal problems, not everybody else's fucking
Pretty
problems.
much.
I guess I was just a meme lord. Just do my own thing.
Yep, pretty much, because it's like the only thing you got. Because high school is really nothing. You know, I know a lot of younger people go into high school thinking it's like, oh my god, this is the big moment, the prom, the this and that, and it's like, look, man, it's nothing. It's best case scenario, you might get into a good college. Worst case scenario, you might get knocked up. You don't want to get into that sort of situation. So just do your schooling, mind your business, and go on your merry way. But now that school's kind of non-existent right now because the whole pandemic, so
There's
everyone's kind
people
of
still
staying
going to
home.
high school. High schools are open.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
They
you're
have
right.
a lot
Yeah,
of
they
half
are
days
starting.
though. But that's besides the point.
It's really weird seeing school buses now again. It's
Yeah.
like, wow.
And school zones.
Yep, and school zones. No more drifting around the elementary school anymore. Damn bastards. All right then. So I think we should just leave it at that, and let's do our what's that? The Breakfast Club ending.
I've never seen that movie
walk
either.
away and- You never seen
Neither
The
have
Breakfast
I.
Club? Oh, that's
I'll get wrecked.
a classic.
I know it's a
That's
classic.
I like the.
I've never seen it.
Yep.
Had good music. Yeah, it's a good music. Well, there's the story about. But yeah, I think we should go ahead and wrap, guys. Anything else you want to say before we go?
PS3 and PS Vita store continuing after all, so no stress. PSP store is closing. RIP.
Yeah, no one plays that.
I mean, it's from 2004.
But
so.
you like dating sims.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times. Marcus,
My closing thoughts. Since we're wrapping up with this whole school thing, if anyone who's younger, wants to listen to one of just these three boomers here, just letting you know, I can't even remember some of my high school fears, ambitions, and none of that. It passes, and it is what it is. But at least appreciate the good that you had with the people you were around back in those days, where once you're done with high school, you just don't talk to them again because the avenue to be with them is just gone. So just appreciate it. Appreciate a real small detail.
Yeah.
Very small, good detail.
Yeah, appreciate high school.
Yeah, like Nikki Jakey said that like all the shit you learn in high school, and I mean like the actual shit that they teach you and stuff, unless you're going to college, it really doesn't mean a damn thing. You're not really gonna need to use it in the day-to-day basis. Again, assuming you're not continuing education.
I want to
That's
say
what I'm
80%, maybe 70% of that is maybe 70%, 80%, because gosh, I hate grammatical errors. Like even you do it a lot, Daniel. Instead of spelling quiet, you say quite. You spell it out quite, and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna be a grammar little. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna let it go.
I'm not gonna be a fucking prolapse anus. I'm just gonna let it slide. Let it slide for the smooth brain.
I understand. I'm gifted. With wrinkles on my brain. So I get depressed when I understand things. So yeah, it is what it is.
Anyways, as I was saying was, yeah, so in my honest opinion, just enjoy your years, especially when you're a youngin. Just enjoy the fun times you have with the less responsibilities. Like, be safe. Also, don't do something that's gonna, get you in prison. But like, go have fun with your friends. Spend some time. Do the shit that makes you happy. Don't think you have to follow the stereotype like prom and shit. Listen, you know what I did in fucking prom? I was at an anime convention having the time
Yeah,
of my
but you said
life.
you're a loner, so I mean,
Yeah, but I'd rather be a loner at a convention than at a fucking prom and waste more money.
that's true.
So yeah, don't get into the don't buy into that movie life shit that's like, oh my god, high school is super important. It's not. It's really not. But yeah, I'm sorry, we got into a little tangent. So let's go ahead and wrap, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the latest episode of the DKM podcast. As you guys know, you always can watch us here on YouTube. We're trying to get up to 50 subscribers. We're so close. And you can listen to us on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, anywhere that you can listen to your podcasting services. Make sure you follow us at Twitter at DKM Podcast so you keep up to date whenever we make a new episode, and to follow us on shenanigans that we have planned for this channel. So I think we should go ahead and leave it at that. And you have a good one. Take care and be safe.